But now he goes to 9. He says, likewise, I want women to adorn themselves with proper clothing, modestly and discreetly, not with braided hair and gold or pearls or costly garments. Whoa. Well, hold on there. And this is something I'm going to be very honest with you, that my wife and I we've really been struggling with this. Not that we don't want to obey it. We want to make sure we know what it means. Because what does it mean? Because we've been given some terms here, and they're not, we almost look at this and say, why didn't you give us more? Give us a rule. Give us, something that we can just follow. But I want you to look at some things. I want you to see, first of all, likewise I want women to adorn themselves. Now, he wants women to adorn themselves. Okay? So adornment's not bad. But that adornment, we're going to see, is in verse 11. In verse 10, it's good works, godliness, a quiet and submissive spirit. Now, but let's go on. He says, I want women to adorn themselves with proper clothing. That tells me that there is clothing that's improper for a Christian woman. All right? That's just logic. There is clothing that is improper for a Christian woman. Now, he says, the clothing must be modest. Modest. This is very important. It's literally proper clothing with modesty is the way it goes in the original text. So, with modesty. My wife has a really good thing that she says, and she goes, if your clothing is a frame for your face from which the glory of God is to shine, it's proper. If it draws attention to your face. If your clothing draws attention to your body, to outline it, to make it noticed, then it's sensual. It's sensual. What you're doing is wrong. Now, I want to step off for just a second. Women, you need to understand something. Men are not as dumb as you think they are. My wife and I have a friend in Illinois, and she's a very pretty lady. Very pretty. And if she walked in that door right now, every man in this room, if he turned and saw her, this is what they would say. Well, that's a very pretty lady. That's a very elegant lady. That's a beautiful lady. And that's what they would think. But ladies, there are also women that aren't half as attractive as that lady I just described to you, either in their face or in their body, and they could walk in that door, and the moment every man heard the door open and he looked over there, if he was a godly man, he would have to go like this. Because it's not beauty, it's sensuality. And even though you can't exactly write down the rules and put it all on paper, when you see it, you know it. There is a difference between beauty and sensuality. And God is not against beauty. He is against sensuality. In Philippians, we are told to think on things that are excellent, that are noble, that are just, that are right, that are true. The way a woman carries herself and the way she dresses ought to promote the following types of words: modesty, discretion, wisdom, beauty, elegance, refinement, but not sensuality, luxury, extravagance. You know, extravagance, ladies, is when your husband wants you to take off your earrings so he can make them into lures to catch northern pike. Now, ladies, this is, I've been giving your husbands a lot of tasks. Let me give you one. Seek to find out what this means and go wherever the Lord shows you. There is nothing more attractive than a woman who has this look of wisdom and discretion and nobility and simplicity. Simplicity. It's just a simple beauty about her. Now, I was teaching in Romania, I guess it was about 2 years ago, and I was at a university. I think it was Brașov, University of Brașov, I think, or something. And it was Europeans, just European techno-punk kind of stuff, All these all these college students come in there and everything. There's a whole room full of them. And there was a bunch of girls there at the bottom of the auditorium in the first rows, purple hair, nails through their nose, just stuff like that, And I looked at them, and I didn't get angry. It just really broke my heart. You just look at these little girls, and you think, oh, Lord, where is their father? What's happened? And this is what I did. I looked at them and I said, how many of you have seen the movie Pride and Prejudice? BBC, or the recent one with Keira Knightley, or how many of you have ever seen that? Or seen Sense and Sensibility? Those two movies. And most of them went, I have. And I said, after you saw that movie, those movies, did you feel sad? Kinda? And a lot of them went, well, yeah, I did. Come to think of it, when I saw those movies, I felt sad. And I said, do you want me to tell you why? And they said, sure. I said, because much of what you saw in that movie has been killed in you. It's been killed. There was a time when people dressed for the sake of beauty. Now it's for the sake of lust. It used to be refinement. Now it's grunge. And I said, isn't it amazing that even though this really didn't happen in the movie, this was kind of the thing the movie gave you. Like if a girl was standing there and she reached for a book, let's say a 19-year-old girl, and she reaches for a book, and the moment she reaches for the book, a boy also reaches for the same book, and his hand crosses her hand like this just by accident, and guess what happens? The moment that happens, she almost loses her breath, she flushes, and has to leave the room. Look what they've done to you. Look how they've robbed you. And you've allowed yourself to be robbed. The young man, his heart's beating and he doesn't even know what to do. Just jumps out of a window. The young girl is all flush and she's just feeling all these emotions that are just about to explode in her heart, and tenderness and innocence and all these things that have been killed in you, young lady. They've been killed. Sin causes death all the time. It kills everything. It kills beauty. It kills poetry. It kills refinement. I would challenge you to get into the Scriptures, and it is a difficult task, because you start asking yourself a question, well, what is it? What is masculine? I mean, does it mean I can never wear pants? Does it mean this or that? Those are very hard questions, and you know what? You need to have a lot of grace, because when the Scriptures do not say something specifically, you better not be putting your specific rules upon people. Be very careful here. And as you know, my wife's here. She doesn't dress like a Puritan or something. But at the same time, I can tell you that she and I are in a transition. Because we've honestly, you get around to trying to look at different aspects of your life. And one of the things is, what is it supposed to look like to be a feminine, beautiful woman with discretion and wisdom and nobility? And you could dress a woman in a skirt that went all the way down to her heels, and she could still be sensual and ungodly. I mean, nothing's going to cover up a wicked heart. But how should the daughters of God dress themselves? And, some people have gone really, I think the other side, and they just wear, denim skirts and white tennis shoes and, put their hair a certain way, and everybody's a homeschooling mom. I don't think that's what the Scriptures had intended either. But I will tell you this. Take simplicity. Take modesty. Take discretion. Put within that beauty and elegance. Throw away from it all sensuality and luxury and extravagance, and try to find, where does the Lord want you to be? And I'll tell you this, just as a man. A woman who most people would say is not that attractive in her face or in her body. If you see nobility in her, if you see discretion and wisdom in her clothing, in her way of being, it is attractive. It is pleasant. It is. It is. A noble, virtuous woman who just doesn't have it on the inside, but it affects the way she dresses, it affects the way she holds herself. And young ladies that are here, man, boys don't play with you. They don't wrestle with you. They don't come up and grab you around the neck. They don't do all these kinds of things. You are very special, very proper. Not in that wrong sort of way. There's a dignity to you. So don't allow the world to tell you how to dress because they just want to make you sensual. Don't tell people don't let people tell you how boys are supposed to treat you. Let God tell you. And you demand that.